Subject is Computer Architecture and Organization, Unit number 4, Input Output Organization. This is lecture number 1. Myself, Maneesh Singhal, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Information Technology, College is Arya College of Engineering and Information Technology. Unit is Input Output Organization. The content, Input Output Organization, Introduction, Input Output Interface, third, Input Output Bus and Interface Module, fourth, Input Output versus Memory Buses, and last, IOP, Input Output Processor. Input Output Organization. The input output organization of computer depends upon the size of computer and the peripheral connected to it. Peripherals mean input output devices. The input output subsystem of the computer provide an efficient mode of communication between the central system and the outside environment. Input output organization. The most common input output device are monitor, keyboard, mouse, printer, magnetic tapes. The devices that are under the direct control of the computer are said to be connected online. Input output interface. Input output interface provide a method for transferring information between internal storage and external input output devices. Peripheral connected to a computer need special communication link for interfacing them with the central processing unit. It means CPU. The purpose of communication link is to resolve the difference that exists between the central computer and each peripheral. The major differences are peripherals are electromechanical and electromagnetic devices and their manner of operation of the CPU and memory, which are electronic devices. Therefore, a conversion of signal value may be needed. The data transfer rate of peripherals is usually slower than the transfer rate of CPU, and consequently a synchronization mechanism may be needed. Data code and formats in the peripheral differ from the word format in the CPU and memory. The operating modes of peripherals are different from each other and must be controlled so as not to disturb the operation of other peripherals connected to the CPU. What is input-output interface? To resolve these differences, computer systems include special hardware component between the CPU and peripherals to supervise and synchronize all input and output transfer. These components are called interface units because they interface between the processor buses and the peripheral devices. Input output buses and interface module. It defines the typical link between the processor and several peripherals. The input output bus consists of data lines, address line and control line. The input output bus from the processor is attached to all peripheral interface. To communicate with the particular device, the processor places a device address on address lines. Each interface decodes the address and control received from the input-output buses, interrupt them for peripherals and provide signal for the peripherals control. It is also synchronize the data flow and supervise the transfer between peripheral and processor. Each peripheral has its own controller. For example, the printer controller controls the paper motion and the print timing. The control lines are referred as an input-output command. The commands are as follow. Control command. A control command is issued to activate the peripherals and to inform it what to do. Status command. A status command is used to test various status condition in the interface and the peripheral. Output data command. Data command output a data output command causes the interface to respond by transferring data from the bus into one of its registers. Input data command. The data input command is the opposite of the data output. In this case, the interface receives on items of data from the peripheral and place it in its buffer register. This is the diagram input output bus and interface module. There are one processor and three buses, data, address and control. There are different interface from the keyboard and display terminal, printer and magnetic disk. This is a connection of input output bus to input output device. Input output versus memory buses. To communicate with input output, the processor must communicate with the memory unit like the input output buses. The memory bus contains data, address and read-write control lines. There are three ways that computer bus can be used to communicate with the memory and input output. First, use two separate buses, one for memory and other for input output device. Second, use one common bus for both memory and input output, separate control line for each. Third, use one common bus for memory and input output with common control lines. Input output processor. In this first method, the computer has independent set of data, address and control bus, one for address accessing memory and other for input output. This is done in computers that provide a separate input output processor. It means IOP. The purpose of IOP is to provide an independent pathway for the transfer of information between external device and internal memory. Thank you.